Hey guys, can you hear me? Am I audible? Hey guys, can you hear me? Am I audible? Hey guys, can you hear me? Am I audible? Hey guys, can you hear me? I think my phone was kind of echoing. Okay, fine. So thanks everyone for joining. Thank you. Funny Kiran, Satvik, Nikhil, thanks for joining. Just give us 1 to 2 minutes. Let few more folks join and then we will start, okay? Now I think it should be fine, Satvik. My voice should be fine, I think. Because I have kept mobile phone on the side, so maybe due to that it was. Hi Salini, thanks for joining. Hey everyone who have joined now. Okay, so welcome to today's session, and today also we will be doing some knowledge sharing and some discussions, some machine learning discussions, some deep learning discussions, some Python and some puzzles. Okay, so it will be like that. I request you, please press the like button. If you press the like button, the recommendation will go to new people. Okay, and without any delay, let's get started. So very first question, guys. This is one of my favorite question for the interview also. Okay, so I will ask to the candidate, hey, can you explain machine learning to a layman? Okay, and when I say to a layman, it has to be a very simple definition. Okay, so what will be a very simple definition according to you? I'm sorry, this has gone escape. Okay, I think this is fine. So you can tell me what is your definition, very simple definition of machine learning from a layman's perspective. So you have to think like, a school student or somebody non-tech or a housewife. These kind of people should be able to understand what is machine learning from your definition. So what would be your definition? Don't use any fancy words. Don't use any technical jargons. Just simple terms, right? How do you do that? Okay. Okay, I'm getting some answers. Giving machine the learning capability. Shalini is saying, Gitesh is saying, machine that learns from the data. Funny is saying is the ability of machine to learn something without having to be programmed. Fine. When a child touches hot water, his hands burns. Next time he does not touch that. Similarly, in case of machine, that's a good definition, Satvik. Okay. So all these are kind of okay, good definition. And I will also add something from my side. So what happens in normal computer programming is, uh, when somebody programs or when somebody writes a software code, so what will happen is there will be some instructions, and those instructions will be combined with computers, and then we get an output. Okay, then we get an output, right? For example, when you go to Facebook, you enter your email id, you enter your password. So these are the instructions. These instructions get combined with the computer, which is your laptop, and then you get the output. Output means nothing but your uh, Facebook homepage, right? So that is your normal computer programming. What happens in machine learning is you take the data and you take the result. Okay. For example, I give you some information and I give you result. And based on these two things, you tell me, based on pattern learning, based on machine learning, what will happen in the future. For example, Satvik is giving an example of a child. Okay, a child plus hot water. Okay, so child plus hot water, this is nothing but the data. Okay, and this is the experience. Experience means result. Result is what? Burning. Okay, so suppose there is a child and there is the hot water. So this combination is nothing but information and data. If it happens multiple times, then the result is burn. So if multiple time this happens, then the child understand that I don't have to touch the hot water. That is nothing but learning from the experiences. So to keep it short and crisp, machine learning is about learning from the experiences. Okay, we know if this happens, that is bound to happen, and hence we learn and we move in that direction. So without using any jargons, without using any complicated keywords, if you have to explain to someone, machine learning is about learning from the experiences, learning the patterns, learning the behavior from the experiences. Okay, yeah, or it can be related to babies learning to walk. For example, when babies tries to walk, he or she will fall, and then she will know how not to walk. Okay, that is again example of machine learning. Let's move on to the next one. This was a basic one. So tell me, what are the basic steps involved in deep learning model? So for example, what I'm expecting you to answer here is, first step will be initialize weights and biases. Okay, initialize weight and bias, or biases you can say. This is step one. Now you have to tell me what is step two, what is step three, and so on and so forth. So what are the steps, guys? Normal deep learning you can think of. I mean, not something very specific, in general. Hello, thanks for joining. Thanks everybody who is joining. You can just go ahead and press the like button. So my question here is, what are the steps involved in a training a deep learning model? So I have written a step one, initialize weight and biases. What is step two? What is step three? And so on and so forth. Layer creation, compilation, training. This looks little high level because I'm talking here about more from a mathematical point of view. Applying activation function. Before activation function also, um, the calculation will happen, right? That is correct, Satvik. Applying activation function, but activation function will be applied on input, right? So we can say prepare input. Prepare input. Okay. By input, I mean to say b naught plus w1 x1, like that. Okay. w1 x1 plus w2 x2. This I mean to say. Okay. And this is your preparing input. Then obviously you will pass it to activation function. So apply activation. What next? What is step 4 and step 5? If you can tell me. Step 4 and step 5. This is just a conceptual thing. Okay. So you just have to, this is to understand your knowledge on deep learning. Okay. So just try to think how it will go sequentially, or if I'm making any mistakes, you are free to correct me. Training is this entire process. If you see, I mean, I will say from here to here, it is this, whatever steps we write, entire thing is training. Okay. So Satvik is saying compare output and reiterate. So correct, but I will say it in a different way. Um, apply activation function, pass it through the next neuron, get output. I will say get output and compare. I will say, okay, get output and compare, and then I will say readjust readjust weights. Am I right here? Am I right here? Yes. Saying calculation of loss function, Seren is saying loss function that comes as a part of compare. Okay. Readjust weights. Okay. So do you agree with these 5 pointers of a normal neural network? I mean, normal deep learning model. All of you understand this, or you have any problem in how it will be working? I think most of you understand this. Okay. So it is very important, very crucial to understand that, there will be different input parameters. One weight will come to all these, right? W1, W2 like this. All of this will get come here, will get passed through activation function. And then, output will be computed. Output will be compared and then come back and adjust the weights. Fine. I think most of you are fine with this. Let's move to the next one. Have you heard of something known as swish function, SWISH? This is again related to deep learning. I have put few things related to deep learning knowingly today because we did not cover much of this in previous sessions. So this is nothing but an activation function. You can Google about it. Okay. So activation function, just to you would have heard of ReLU or maybe leaky ReLU or maybe sigmoid or maybe 10H, right? All these are activation functions similar to this. This is Google's activation function, if I'm not wrong. Okay. And they claim that it is very, very fast. So you can try kind of using it. Okay. And just exploding what is this. So most of us don't know. These kind of questions can come to you in a MCQ. Okay. So if you go for an interview and if MCQ is there, they will tell you which of the below is an activation function. They can give you this option. Okay. So good to know. So this is again an activation function. Just remember that. Just like ReLU, sigmoid, 10H, etc. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Swish function, SWISH. Okay. Just you can Google it. Okay. This is a Python assignment. So what you have to do is, given an array containing a range of numbers from 0 to n, okay, with a missing number, find the missing number in the input array. For example, I give you some numbers like 13, 14, 15, and then I don't write 16. I write 17, then I write 18, then I write 19, and then I don't write 20. I write 21, 22. Now this is your input, okay? And your output should be what is the missing number in this sequence. So 16 and which one? 20. This is a fun question, guys. Don't take this question lightly. So when I say FANG, it is your all big shot companies common question. Okay. Common interview question for many of these big shot organization. Tomorrow you go for interview in Facebook, Amazon, Google. This is one common question you can expect. So just try to think the logic, then only you will be able to convert it to the code. Try to think the logic, and you can write it here, whatever comes to your mind from logic point of view. So to the people who have joined now, given an array containing a range of numbers from 0 to n with a missing number, find the missing number in the input array. For example, this is input and this is output. Somebody is asking, Ankita is asking, through range function we can solve it. Range will give you a sequence of numbers, right? If you want to range and if you want to compare, you are free to do that. But what will be the syntax or what will be the approach? So one thing is sure, this is a continuous number pattern. Okay. So you can take this continuous number pattern and you can guess what is the next number, and you can compare if that number is not there. I'm just telling you out of my mind whatever is logic coming. You can kind of compare. If that number is not there, put that in a list. Okay, Asutosh is giving a logic, not the code. That's fine. I mean, try to give the code. If you're not able to give the code, pseudo code or logic, anything that comes to your mind. Okay. Anyway, for logics, I have some interesting puzzles toward end. Okay, just be with me towards the end. Some interesting puzzles are there. Okay, for the logic. So First we find a max number, Asutosh is saying, then use loop till till that number, and we store in other list which are missing. Okay, I did not get it maybe. Okay, what is the logic, Asutosh? Can you tell one more time for some example? Uh, for example, in this list, right? Max is 22. Then what you do? You have to start from 13 also, remember. Okay. So if not many people are able to think, on top of my mind, I can think a simple logic like, see, if this input is given to me, I know what is my range. That is for sure, right? So in this case, I know I am starting at 13 and I'm ending at 22. This I know for sure. Okay. So I will take a obviously loop. Okay. This may not be very smart way of doing it, but I will take a loop. In this loop, I will go and expect what is my next number. For example, I will start to 13 and I will expect my next is 14. I will expect my next is 15. At the moment I say 16 is missing, I put 16 in a separate list, call that as a missing list. Okay. And similarly till the end of the loop. Yeah, Satvik is also giving the same logic I think that I am giving. Okay. Not a problem. This is one logic. I just told you as this is a common question for many interviews. Okay. So just keep that in mind and try to think the logic. Okay. Okay. Seren is giving me the code for I in 13 that if I x I is equal to I, break else print I. But there can be multiple things, Seren. I mean, multiple things can be missing. So you need to keep storing that in a list. Okay. Your approach looks fine. But if something is missing, store that in list and then move forward. Don't break the loop. Okay. Let's move to the next one. You have to tell me what are the variants of gradient descent and how it works. I mean, basically how they are different in terms of their flavor. For example, one can be normal gradient descent, one can be mini batch gradient descent, right? One can be stochastic gradient descent. So how these are different and some advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Batch, stochastic, mini batch. Okay. So how mini batch is different from normal gradient descent, and how stochastic is different from normal gradient descent? Do you remember some answers on this? Stochastic is slow, people are saying. Is it true? Stochastic process one training example per iteration. Is it one training example, stochastic gradient descent? Mini batch is basically batch wise, right? Batch wise, that means if your input data had, let's say, 100 records, then you can send it batch wise. Let's say 10 records here. That is your batch wise, right? Yeah. Stochastic is one example per training, per iteration. One example, is it right or wrong? Funny Kiran is saying one training example per iteration. Dilip Kumar is also saying same. One example. So if there are 100 records, then 100 iterations. And normally simply one iteration only, one shot only, I mean all the data will go, right? So this is obviously slow. This will be slightly faster, but again time consuming. This will be again, maybe fast, but very time consuming, right? Any other advantages and disadvantages of these approaches apart from what we discussed? Any other advantages or disadvantages of these? Are again interview questions they will ask you to check your understanding of various concepts. Convergence is better in mini batch. It will be fast if we provide less epoch. So convergence is fast. Obviously, if you compare with normal, it will be fast only. So we can say fast convergence. What else? So slightly, you can tweak these algorithm by setting the epoch size, or using some functionalities of Python. For example, you do not pass some big data frames, rather you pass some numpy arrays. So this kind of functionalities of Python you can use, and you can combine your epoch size and you can make your model run faster. So all these are different ways of making your model run faster, or convergence faster, that you are telling. So basically, what has been observed in the industry is, out of all these options, mini batch is the one which is converging fast. Okay, and this is the one which we can try. Okay, and if somebody asks you the differences, we already discussed that. But remember these things. Sometimes we tend to forget. So I put it in the slide. Okay, what is the next one? So this is a simple one. This is a Python list. For example, if I say name list, yeah, name L, for example, Aman, for example, let's say Dilip, for example, again Aman. Okay, so one thing is repeating here. So what logic will go where, output will be Aman. So whatever is more than once, that output should come here. What will be the logic for this? Can you think of a logic here? Yes, Rishabh. On a stochastic gradient descent with momentum, that's a separate concept. I have a video on that as well. Okay, you can watch that. That's a good point. So two guys who have joined now, I have a list where I have some elements. I want to find out what is the duplicate elements, or if there are multiple, then multiple duplicate element by comma should come here. No, I'm not looking for some instructions or some functions. I'm looking for either some pseudo code or some Python code. What will do this? Okay, one approach is coming from Satvik. He's saying he will take a dictionary and add the name as key and occurrence as value. And wherever value is greater than one, that he will print. Any other approach? Yes, Rachit, very good point. So these kind of points we should discuss. Rachit is saying dictionary is time and space complex, so not recommended. So sometimes your list can be pretty large. So how would you do that? How would you do that? Can I run two different loops here? Do you suggest that? For example, I will iterate once for I in name L. Okay, for I in name L, and I will again iterate one more time. Okay, for J in name L. If I is equal to j, then store it in a list. Is it a decent approach or there is a problem? I'm just giving you, whatever is coming to my mind first. Can I take two different loops and run one inside other? Do you think it will be it's not a very good way of writing code? Then what is the alternate way? Somebody is suggesting a dictionary, that is again time and space complex. The reason of putting this question is same. I want to see different approaches for this from you guys. Okay, I have just one or two approach till now. Give me some more approach. All of you are coders, so I'm expecting some more approaches. Yes, this is not a very good approach, as Rishabh is saying. I agree with Rishabh. I can take your questions towards the end, but here let's go through this quickly. Okay, so can you give any one or two approaches? Nobody is giving me. You can later drop a comment on this video as well. Sort the array, iterate over it, and print where I is equal, means next element is the same. All about investment hashing. Okay, Funny Kiran is saying list item for item in name one if name one item greater than one. Will it list of item for item in one? Okay, if name one for item is greater than one. How it is counting the occurrence? How it is counting, Funny Kiran, in your code? See, name one item one is nothing but one index. Okay, name one is your list. So name one index, for example, I say index 2 greater than 1. I'm not sure how it is counting the occurrence. We can use counter for collection library. Fine. Can we convert this, another approach just on top of my head? Can we convert this to a set? Okay, and we call it my set, for example. Okay, and then we convert this to list. Okay, my list, my new list, you can say, or my unique list, my U list, I will say unique list, and then compare name one with my unique list. But that will not work, right? Because everything will come one time. That will not work. Okay, what is Adi Sharma saying for I in name one if name one count one greater than 0? Yes, this will work, I think. Okay, so multiple approaches are coming, and that is what is important. Okay, so solution is one thing, but thinking and going to the solution and finding out the approach is what this session is for. Okay, so all are kind of, some approaches may work, some approaches may be slow, some may be fast, but we should try out the things. That is the purpose. Okay, thanks everyone for your response in this. Okay, thanks Sanket for that suggestion. Let's move to the next one. Okay, this is a non-tech question, and this applies to somebody at little senior level. Little senior level means somebody who is having someone report to them. Okay, you may be a team lead, you may be a mid-level person, or you may be working in a team where you are mentoring a few junior folks are working with you. So we will discuss here a few pointers on how to assign work to your team. Just three things we will discuss. Okay, so for example, there are two people working in your team. What are the few important things when you assign work to your team. Okay, what is your experience? You can say, then I will add here my points. So let me start adding actually. So one is clarity. Okay, one is clarity. Clarity in terms of what? Clarity in terms of what you want. Many a times what will happen is junior resources will not understand what you want if you write them in the chat, or if you surpass the process of explaining them. Okay, so have this very clear in your mind, that you have to clearly tell them what is that you need. Okay, very important. And then second point is, you have to have some milestones. Okay, because what may happen is, uh, you may give something which is of high importance, critical importance, and they might not be able to understand by when they have to deliver it. So milestones or regular update. Understand there is a very basic difference between macromanagement and kind of uh, regular updates. So ask for regular updates, but you should not sound like you are sitting on their head. Okay, clarity is one thing. Appreciate them on achieving some milestones. That is another thing. And third and important thing is, after all the tasks that you provide, if you keep giving feedback, right, what was right and what was wrong, or what could have been done in a better way, slowly you will start seeing that you are getting a better team. Okay, so people are giving some very good suggestions here. For example, Dilip is saying MECE framework, presentation, or assign R&R very quickly. All these are very good suggestions. Okay, so I try to discuss some of the topics which is relevant to somebody at mid level or manager level also. So I believe these are important parts you should understand when you are working in a team and when somebody is reporting to you. Okay, otherwise you may be in a mess. Okay, time for the puzzle. So you have a birthday cake. Okay, and you have to cut it into 8 equal pieces by making 3 cuts only. How do you do that? You have a birthday cake. Okay, happy birthday, I will write happy birthday. How many cuts you have to make? 3. How many pieces you want to get? 8. Tell me the logic first. First. Imagine you have very less time. This is again an interview puzzle just to check your analytical thinking ability. Okay. So nothing I am putting here which is senseless or which is not related to what we do. This is making sense. Okay. I mean, in the interview it will make sense. Tell me the approach quickly. Anybody, whoever does first, I can understand he or she is involved in a lot of cake cutting. One horizontal, one vertical is what Satvik is saying. So what Satvik will do is Satvik will cut it like this, and he will cut it vertical also, right? So 4 pieces I get now. How many I get? 4 I get, right? Okay, you're saying 2 vertical. Okay, 1 horizontal and 2 verticals. Okay. So I think Satvik has given the right answer. Anybody else understood what Satvik is saying? Satvik is saying 1 horizontal cut and 2 vertical cuts. 1 horizontal and 2 vertical cuts. Panikiran is saying first cut the cake into 4 pieces using 2 cuts horizontal, then stack them one above the other and cut them into using third cut for 8 pieces. Same thing actually. Uh, number of cuts is 1 horizontal and 2 vertical. I hope all of you are able to understand this clearly. Okay, if not, you can visualize it. And meanwhile, I'll go to another puzzle. And if somebody wants to answer this, they can keep answering this. Okay. So this is another puzzle. There are three ants sitting on three corners of a triangle. So for example, this is a triangle. Okay. And there are three ants sitting here, A1, A2, and A3. Okay. All ants randomly pick a direction and start moving along the edge of the triangle. They starts moving either here or here. What is the probability of any two ants collide? Can you tell me? This is a test of your probability knowledge also, and some logical thinking also. Again, one of the famous interview question. Okay. That's why I put this here. Next time, if you see this in interview, at least you know that you have applied some brain on this before. What is the probability, guys? And how did you compute that? If you can tell me, that would be great. Or if you can give me some thought process, I can keep writing here. What is the probability that any two ants collide? Funny Kiran is saying 6 by 8, which is a very high probability. 2 by 3. Sarat, any two we have to say. How did you come to 6 by 8? Funny Kiran, can you give me the logic? And Sarat Siva also 2 by 3. Can you give me the logic? Because both of your answer is different. One person is saying, Funny is saying 6 by 3. I will write here Funny. And Sarat is saying 2 by 3. I will write here Sarat. Others, can you give me your answer, please? And also, if you can give me the logic. Rishabh is giving one logic, but A1 will have two option to move, correct. A2 will have two option to move, correct. Collision probability is 1 by 4, but third also we have to consider in this huge case. Since every ant has two choices to move, total possibility is 2 by 3, 8. They cannot collide only if they all move in either CW or CCW directions. Hence, out of a 6 possible collisions. Dilip is also saying 6 by 8. Amar's 2 by 3 is equal to 1 by 3. 2 by 6. No, 2 by 6 is does not look correct to me. Okay, so if we want to make this very, very simple, right? Then we can write it like this: Ant1, Ant2, Ant3. And what I will write here is, for example, if you take this direction as forward, okay, and this direction as forward, okay, and this direction as forward, okay. So if they move, all three move in the forward direction, then they will never collide. Correct? They will never collide if they move in the forward direction. But if they move, if anyone moves in the backward direction, then obviously they will collide, right? There are 2 cross 2 cross 2 possibilities, 8 possibilities, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm also thinking with you. A1, A2, A3. Okay. So our sample space will look like this. So I will say forward, backward, forward, backward. So let's say all three go in forward direction. Okay. Or all three go in backward direction. Okay. And after this, you can start putting forward, backward, whatever combination you want to put it. For example, forward, backward, forward, or whatever you want to put it. 2Q, right? 8 combinations. Okay. So these two cases, right? These two cases, it will never collide. Am I right? So 2 by 8 is the possibility of not colliding. So possibility of colliding will be 1 minus 2 by 8 is equal to 6 by 8. Am I right? Do you agree with my answer? Satvik is saying yes. Funny, I think same approach in a different way. You are saying. Okay, cool. Okay, I think now we are agreeing on this. That's fine. So in today's the discussion, we did some puzzles, then we did some non-tech, we did some Python, we did some deep learning, some more Python, some deep learning, and some deep learning Python again. Okay. So I hope you guys like the session. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. And next Thursday, obviously, you have to join. This session will only 2 people have pressed like. No, I think more people have pressed. Please press the like button, guys, so that it will go to others. Okay. And then more people can watch. And I can take some of your questions if you want. One person was asking something, some technical query. You can ask for 5-10 minutes and then I can close. Just press the like button, guys. Okay, so I remember the query of from somebody was asking what is it, what is a categorical variable actually. So in data, for some, I don't know if that person is there or he left the chat, but I just want to tell you, if you see any data, okay, for example, let's say Netflix data, Netflix Netflix data, because Netflix is all of us are using a lot, right? So if you see Netflix data, then there will be a column called movie, okay, and there will be a column called minutes watched or hours watched. There will be a column called country. I will just take 3 columns, okay. So for example, movie, you can say Terminator. Hours watched, you can say X hours. Country, you can say USA. We can say RRR. Okay, hours watched, you can say Y. Country, you can say IND. So here what you have to understand is anything that you can count or measure. Remember these two words, count or measure. So number of hours you can count or you can measure. Hence it becomes a continuous variable. Okay. And anything which you cannot count or measure, or which comes in values or which is distinct, that is your categorical variable that we called as a categories. Now there are further classifications, but just to understand, for example, movie, you are not counting, it is just one movie Terminator, one movie RRR, one country USA, one country India. So this variable v1 will be called as a categorical variable, v3 will be called as a categorical variable, v2 will be called as a continuous variable. Okay, somebody was asking the difference, hence I explained you. If you want to take the data science zero to hero course, right, then you will find all these descriptions in very much detail. You will find the link of that in the description. Just to let you know that the festive offers is going on. Anybody wants to take, they can. Instead of using a for loop, I used a map function. Will it have an impact? Yes, it will have impact. Map function is faster as compared to for loop. Okay. So if there are no further questions, we are close to an hour. I hope all of you like the session, and we will meet up next Thursday with the session. Meanwhile, I will anyway meet up with you with some videos and some posts. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. See you all. Okay.